James wasn't expecting that the high-level adventurers would keep each other informed. "Aren't you feeding information to your competitors?" Kate asked. James nodded. Though he suspected that there was an apparent reason, it did feel like giving one another free information would allow other groups to get ahead. This would mean that they'd be able to earn more guild points. Raoul snorted, finding the thought humorous. Each group is indeed competing against each other, but you forget that not having the proper information could lead to your group taking on a situation that's beyond them. But doesn't the guild provide detailed information in the request? If it was too dangerous, then the guild would make sure to appropriately label the request to reflect the danger, Kate said, confused by what Raoul was saying. Is there information that's not being told to the guild by the groups? James asked. Not telling the guild what would be labeled critical didn't sound like a bright idea. If the guild felt that adventurers were holding out information for some reason, like protecting a group's interest, the guild would deal out heavy punishment. The guild was an organization that placed great importance on the safety of the adventurers. Raoul shook his head. It's not about whether the information isn't being shared to the guild. The point is to expand on what's provided by the guild. While the guild wants to make sure that all the adventurers are safe on request, they're also trying to present the information in a concise manner. This means that sometimes details are left out that they may not think is as important, but they do try to rank a request to convey its danger level. James nodded. Their group had experienced the guild stopping them if they felt a request was beyond their abilities. Then, why would there be a need for the various groups to share information? Kate asked. There was silence as they waited for Raoul to answer. It's because it's difficult to convey instincts that adventurers develop the higher their level. Just like how we can sense that what's happening at night is strange and peculiar, it would be hard to try and explain it to the guild. While we try our best to let the guild know, the guild may not be able to accurately take in such feelings that adventurers feel on a request, Raoul said. Due to this reason, we make sure to get together with other adventurers. There's value in seeing the facial reactions as the adventurer is explaining what happened deep in the forest. This place gets more dangerous the deeper you enter into it. It's better to gain as much information as possible. James thought about what Raoul had said to them as the group continued. After the more experienced adventurer shared such profound words, both Kate and James were quiet. Taking in the new information felt appropriate instead of filling the air with random words. The one thing that James took away from what Raoul had said was how there's a level of unpredictability inside the forest. Even if adventurers wanted to share everything, there'd be things that could never be planned. His mind began to drift to the nights when he'd stare into the darkness, trying to see what was hidden behind the void. James happened to look at the trees they were passing and thought about how the trees seemed to get thicker the deeper they traveled. Though it hadn't even been a week, it just showed how ancient the surroundings were. It hinted at what they'd encountered as they traveled deeper. Every now and then, James would see a slash mark into one of the nearby trees. It was deep and large to make sure that someone would notice it. It seems that things are still peaceful up ahead, Raoul commented after he looked at the mark. Ahead of them, as Celine scouted to make sure there were no dangers, she'd marked trees. It indicated the direction they should travel and let them know whether they should be alert.